Number 15, Isiah Thomas.
So Isiah Thomas's regular season resume is not great. 3-time first-team All-NBA, 2-time second-team All-NBA, 1-time assist champ, and 1-time was a top 5 MVP finisher. That's it. So how does Isiah Thomas, with that regular season resume, come in 15th of the 50 best players of the last 50 years? Well, quite simply, Isiah Thomas understood how to win basketball games as well as any player in NBA history, and he showed it. We don't include what you did in college on this list, but it is worth noting Isiah Thomas was a champion in college, was the number 2 pick of the draft, and I talked to Isiah once and asked him, because I once upon a time had underrated Isiah Thomas historically, and my answer was, like most people, is, well, the numbers are the numbers. And his argument was he understood the best way for the Pistons to win games. He understood who needed touches, who needed shots, who needed the ball in their hands in order to contribute the best they could on the defensive side of the ball. So he would sacrifice his own numbers, his own accomplishments for those of his teammates. But when they needed it most, he would show up and have monster games. And when you break it down, it is inarguably true. As soon as his teams faced elimination, Isiah was unbelievable. Furthermore than that, Isiah also, and this part's critical, did not have a super team. Isiah had very good teams, but Isiah didn't have a single teammate that was on the NBA's original 50 best players of the last 50 years, or their 50 greatest players ever. And his only teammate that even made the top 75 list was Dennis Rodman. Yet, as we'll get into, how did he do against Magic and his super team? Against Michael, against Bird and his super team in Boston? Isiah consistently won. So let's go through the postseason resume, all right? 1984, elimination game of the first series of his career. He has 35-12. Again, Isiah, who's a less than 20-point per game career guy, first elimination game in his playoff career, 35-12 against the Knicks. 1985, facing elimination against the 85 Celtics, 37-12-9. For the series, averaged 26, 6, and 11 against the 85 Celtics. The next year, the 86 Celtics might be the greatest team ever. That year, Celtics obviously ended up going on to the finals, losing to Magic and Kareem and Worthy in the finals. In that series, I believe he outplayed Bird. His next 2 best offensive teammates were Vinnie Johnson and Kelly Tripucka. The next year, 1986, facing elimination against Atlanta, what does Isiah do? 36, 10, and 12. Average 27, 7, and 12 for the series. But now is when we get to the meat of Isiah Thomas's greatness. 1987 to 1981. 1987 starts the playoffs off with 34, 9, 9, 4, 2. Swept Washington in round 1. Got revenge over Dominique in round 2, who had beat him the previous year. Had 3 30-point games that series against Dominique. Lost to the defending champion Boston Celtics in 7 games in the Eastern Conference Finals. So 1987 to the conference finals. Amazing to start the playoffs against Washington. Absolutely fantastic against Dominique in Atlanta. And then lose a 7-game series to an all-time team in Boston in 1987. Well, a team that was the defending champ, I should say. The 87 Celtics were very, very good. Maybe not an all-time team. 1988. Beats Michael Jordan in round 2. That's going to be a theme. He averaged 20 and 10 that series. Has 35, 8, 5, and 4 in Game 5 of the 1988 Eastern Conference Finals against Boston. That game is the unofficial, in my mind, end of the Bird-McHale run in Boston. Isiah ended it to make his first NBA Finals. Now let's get to it. 1988 Finals. First game of the Finals has 19 and 12 to steal Game 1 in Los Angeles. And then we're in Game 6. The Pistons can win the title. They're up 3-2 on the 88 defending champion Los Angeles Lakers. He has 43 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 25 third quarter points on the terribly sprained ankle. That gave them the lead going into the fourth. They lose by 1 on a phantom foul call. Kareem goes to the line, makes 2 free throws, forces a game 7. In the game 7, Zeke's hobbled. They lose by 3 points. Magic gets his final ring. He was this close to having a playoff run where he goes through Jordan, then Bird and McHale, then Magic, Kareem, and Worthy. For the series, the NBA Finals, his first finals, he averages 20 and 9. Does he give up? Does he say, it's not? Look at these teams I got to go through? No. The very next year, 1989, sweeps Bird in round 1. Swept Moncrief and company, the Bucks team we talked about earlier in the series, in round 2. Down 1-0 to Chicago and Michael Jordan. Outplays MJ, drops 33 on the Bulls to tie the series. Down 2-1 to MJ and the Bulls. Wins 3 straight, averaging 26, 6, 7, and 3 for the final 3 games. Game 6 to beat the Bulls. Has 33, 5, 4, and 3. And knocks out Jordan again. And then in his first finals game ever, has 24 and 9 en route to sweeping the Lakers. So that year, he did go through Bird, Michael, and Magic. The next year, beat Ewing in round 2. Beat MJ again in the Eastern Conference Finals. This one in game 7, 21, 8, and 11. Then beat Clyde in the finals, averaging 28 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, and wins finals MVP. So from 88 to 90, from 1988 to 90, Isiah Thomas played in 12 series. 9 of those series were against MJ and Pippen, Magic and Kareem, Bird and McHale, Drexler or Ewing. As a whole, in those 9, went 8-1. Overall, went 11-1. And the one series he lost was a game 7 3-point loss when he injured himself in game 6. 1991, down 0-2 to MJ in the Eastern Conference Finals. Has his best game of the series with 29, 7, and 6. Played all 48 minutes, but they lost. And that kind of ended the Pistons' run. So from 87 to 91, 5 straight trips to the conference finals, 3 finals trips, record against Magic super team, 1-1. Record against Bird super team, 3-1. Record against Michael Jordan, 3-1. So he played, let me do the math there very quickly. Excuse me, 10 series against the Magic's Lakers, Magic and Kareem Lakers, Bird Celtics, MJ's Bulls. Did not have another top 50 teammate. 7-3 in those series. And then the next year, facing elimination in round 1, game 5 against Patrick Ewing, had one more monster game, 31, 10, and 6, and that was it for Isiah. But Isiah Thomas could have won 3 in a row, arguably should have won 3 in a row. Did it without a super team, did it in what I'm told is the golden era of basketball, the late 80s. Isiah Thomas unequivocally deserves to be number 15 on the list. Before we move on, let's get a caller on Isiah Thomas.
There was a great scene from a movie called Back to School, which you never saw, Nick, because it came out before 2015. And in it, Rodney Dangerfield is judging a term paper that somebody else wrote for him based on weight, right? So they hand it to him, he puts it in his hand, he goes, it's too light. It feels like a C. Take it back. That's what I'm doing to you with Isiah Thomas being ranked at 15. It's too light. He never had a great number 2, still won 2 titles. He went 12-6 against Jordan in the postseason. His Pistons were a powerhouse in the 80s, and he was one of the best guests we've ever had on First Things First. For those reasons, too light. Isiah Thomas at 15. Sorry, Nick.
All right, Jenna, I appreciate the call. I have seen Back to School. I believe there's a diving competition in that. Also, I understand the sentiment. The problem is you're going to find out who the 14 other guys are. Hard to put Isiah ahead of any of them. Hey, thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button to get more from the show and make sure to click the bell to get notified every time new content drops. Check out full episodes of What's Right wherever you get your podcasts, or just click the link in the description below.